my God. I can't believe the clips I've actually been seeing going around. To add context to this, Dr. Jordan Peterson, a Christian, went in Jubilee to have a debate against 20 atheists. As a Christian, by the way, very important. And he goes into a complete meltdown during this debate. But before we jump into this video, it will be massively appreciated if you drop a like on the video. And also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let's get into it.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I guess since you said morality and purpose cannot be found in science, it would just depend on like what you're referencing. If you're saying a description of your psychological preferences would be considered within science, sure. But I don't think that you have to say that it comes from science in order to be like an atheist. As an agnostic atheist, I don't know if God exists and I don't believe that a God exists. And the only ones that I would really reject would be like the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good, perfect notion of God that plenty of Christians like prescribe themselves. So I guess
How is that relevant to this claim?
you're basing a position of morality and purpose in some like notion of God that isn't the same type of notion of God that typical Christians would prescribe. Your notion of God is
What typical Christians?
yeah, typically when I talk to Christians, they say that they believe in an
How
all-knowing.
about Cardinal Newman, who defined God as conscience? He's a major influence on all of Catholic social theory. How about
God. Generally, Christians, the way they claim God to be is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-good. That's generally ones that the way you classify God. I'm not really sure why he's rejecting that. You don't have to accept it necessarily, but you also don't have to reject it. Just say, hey, I have other definitions. That's fine, but you don't necessarily have to reject it, because that is the most when you talk about how Christians really view God, that's generally what Christians consider the traits and what makes up God: all good, all knowing, and all powerful.
that Christian?
Sure. So do you believe in the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good notion of God?
What do you mean by believe?
Oh my God. He's playing this card again. Oh my God. Nah, that is so cringe. Come on.
You think it to be true?
That's the circular definition. What do you mean
How
when
is
you
that
say you
circular?
believe?
How is that circular? Believe and something to be true are two different things, okay? If something is true, then you're more likely gonna believe it. And if you believe something and it's not true, you will change your belief. That is not circular at all.
How is that circular?
Because you added no content to the answer by substituting the word true and believe.
But those are two different meaning of words. Believing and true are two different things.
You think it to be true.
All right. So if
What's
you
a belief?
believe something, you stake your life on it.
What do you mean by that?
You live for it and you die for it. That's what I mean by that. It isn't something that you say. It isn't something that's associated with logical consistency. It's not declarative. It's not propositional. It's not a figment of your imagination. It's the presupposition of your attention and your action. And you're either fragmented, in which case you worship multiple gods, or there's some unity at.
What he's saying is not necessarily wrong, but it's putting just too much weight on it. If you believe something, you generally act like it is true if you believe it. If you believe in God, you generally pray, you go to church, you attend other spiritual settings, right? You believe God exists. But if you don't believe God exists, you don't go to church, you don't pray, you don't do this. So when you believe something, you generally act like it. But it's putting way too much where you stake your life on. It's that's not true. Not necessarily. If you believe a school is better than a different school that you want to go to, you're not staking your life on it. It's putting way too much weight on it.
At the bottom of it that makes you an unstoppable force.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't believe something if you wouldn't die for it?
Not really, no.
Okay. So then,
How would you define belief? Something you say?
can I explain? I could believe it is the case that this pen exists, but if someone threatened my life, right, I would lie in order to be able to save my life, right? I think you would do that too. You wouldn't lie to save your
Don't be
life?
so sure.
You wouldn't lie to save your life?
How much do you know about me? I didn't lie to save my career. I didn't lie to save my clinical practice.
Would you lie to save your children, your mom, your dad?
I don't think lying would save them.
No, can there ever be a circumstance logically that lying could save someone?
Yeah, and if you're steeped in sin, you're likely to live in circumstances like that.
I'll give you an example. If you're in Nazi Germany, and it is the case that there's Jewish people in your attic and you're trying to protect them.
She's about to get him. Watch, he's about to give the weirdest answer ever. There's no way he can answer this question with everything he said previously.
Example.
Would you lie to like the Nazis? If
I
they're
would have
asking?
done everything I bloody well could, so I wouldn't be in that situation
you
to
lie?
begin with.
It's a hypothetical. What do you mean you wouldn't be in that situation? It's a hypothetical. That's the whole point of it. You're not necessarily going to envision being in that situation anytime in the future. But for the sake of the conversation, hypothetically speaking, let's assume you're there. I wouldn't be there. Okay, we know that's why it's a hypothetical. You wouldn't be there.
It's a hypothetical, and it's
You
not
can't answer
answerable.
hypotheticals?
No, I can't answer a hypothetical like
What?
that because
Did
it's
you eat
far.
today?
Look,
Did you eat
don't
today?
play games.
I'm not playing a game. I'm just asking
Yes,
if you
you
ate
are.
it.
If you present me with an intractable moral choice that's stripped of context and you back me into a corner, you're playing game. I just told you
Hypothetical?
I would do everything that I could to make sure that I'm never in that situation. By the time you've got there, you've made so many mistakes that there's nothing you can do that isn't a sin.
This conversation is getting so deep and so weird. Have a basic hypothetical. If you're in Nazi Germany and then like the Nazi Germans, they come in to come and kill someone, to kill a Jewish person that's part of your family, would you like to save that person? Simple, basic question. And it's gone wayward. This is genuinely one of the biggest reasons, one of the biggest problems with Jordan Peterson, right? You can't have a reasonable conversation and then coming out of that conversation, I'm thinking, oh, this was actually a really good conversation. It always has to twist it. And then to a certain point, you're like, what are we talking about here? Like, we've totally lost the reason of this whole conversation. We've lost it. Like, what is the point of this conversation here? What are they talking about? Nothing.
Being born in Nazi Germany and trying to protect people that you care about. Like
Yeah,
there could be a Jewish
that's a
friend that you
simple
have
question.
and you want to protect them.
I think you should
have
just
them in
give
your
up on
attic.
that line of questioning.
Give up on just like trying to clarify your position? Because you
I
don't
did
like, are you like
clarify.
uncomfortable with me asking this question? It's just a basic hypothetical. Like I could ask
It's
you.
just a basic hypothetical
Like,
where
Yes,
you're
it's actually very basic. What would you actually do? Would you lie or would you not lie?
like
you
if you-
put Jews' lives at stake in Nazi Germany. That's just a basic hypothetical.
obviously you would lie in that scenario to save their life, but you're like not trying to answer this question for some reason.
I just told you why.
Are you anti-fascist? Like, so you're
Why are you
anti-fascist?
asking that?
I was just asking, just clarifying. But like, okay, again, you're not answering this hypothetical because you know it shows that you clearly would lie to save
I'm
someone's life.
answering it in
Obviously,
a
that's
manner
not
you
what truth
don't
is.
find acceptable.
No, you're not answering the question. You're diverting away from the question. You're absolutely not answering the question.
Obviously, because I care about truth.
I wouldn't be in that scenario.
Obviously, right? Logically, because that's
No.
That's the whole point of a hypothetical. That's the whole point. You wouldn't be in that situation. That's why it's a hypothetical question. You wouldn't be there.
already happened. Like that's in the past. You don't have a time travel device. We're bringing this logical hypothetical up to show you that in some circumstances that do happen within the real world, you would lie to save people's lives. So your definition of truth isn't actually how we're typically using it. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to muddy the waters when I ask you, like, do you believe this? Do you think this to be true? So you don't actually have to answer the questions. And plenty of Christians don't like that because they clearly see that you don't really like want to be associated with
I can
Christianity. with that
imagine
respect.
that I was in a situation where the best I could do as a consequence of my previous mistakes was to tell the least amount of lie I could manage. But that would likely indicate that I had made all sorts of catastrophic errors on my way there.
So
Right.
you would lie to save someone's life. So again, you do believe it to be true in that circumstance, even though you like lied in that scenario. So
Not
clearly that's
without
not what
the
you see to be true.
context that I put it in.
You were not willing to
I
die for it. You
said-
were not willing to let other people die for it. So that's not what you see to be true then.
See where this conversation is going. It's actually doing a really good job of like keeping it contained, right? It's not making it like go out of like a reasonable position where you can actually make the argument. He's doing very, very well. But Jordan Peterson, Jesus Christ, he's trying so hard to like move this conversation where it doesn't have to. It's a simple hypothetical question. Yes, you're never gonna be there. That's why it's called a hypothetical. That's the meaning of a hypothetical question. You're not supposed to be there for you to be able to answer the question. You're supposed to
Seemingly.
test your principle.
You're doing exactly what I said you were doing at the beginning of the conversation. You're generating an impossible, restricted, hypothetical with no precursors to back me into a
How is
corner.
it possible? Is there something contradictory about it? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Great conversation.
Yeah. My next claim is that everybody worships something, including atheists, even though they might not know it.
Hey, Dr. Peterson.
How you doing?
Danny, nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Danny?
Danny.
You're saying atheists worship things or people or places, whatever. Can you be very clear about your definition of worship again?
Attend to, prioritize, and sacrifice for.
Okay, that's it. That's your understanding of worship.
Well, I could flesh it out, but that'll do for the time we have.
Okay. Do Catholics attend to Mary?
Yes.
Okay. So do they fit that description of worship?
Yes.
So you would say Catholics and other people that revere Mary, like the Eastern Orthodox tradition, worship Mary.
Well, they might not put her in the highest
But
place.
you would put it that way.
No.
You just said it. Now you're taking it back.
There's
now?
still a hierarchy.
Okay, there's a hierarchy, but within the
There's something at the top.
All right, you can worship things
Mary
below.
is quite a ways up the hierarchy, but not at the top.
Let's go over your definition of worship again. What's your definition of worship?
Attend to,
Attend to. Do
prioritize, and
Catholics
sacrifice for.
do Catholics attend to? Do they prioritize Mary over all other human beings?
No, I didn't say overall, did I? I didn't add that to my definition.
You understand?
I said there was a hierarchy as well.
You attend to.
So you can attend to something trivially, or you can attend to it deeply.
And now you're adding stuff to the definition. But your original
I
definition.
added the hierarchy part at the beginning.
Are you
just
familiar?
didn't understand it.
Are you familiar with the Immaculate Conception?
Why is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic church, don't you? Or you've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure,
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
somewhat.
Okay, you're
Their
familiar.
doctrines are very
how do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this?
That's the part that actually got me. First of all, what do you mean you're not a Christian? This is what 20 atheists. What are you? What, an atheist against 20 atheists? It makes no sense. Why the hell why would this be a conversation if you're not a Christian? Like, if you're not worshiping something, what the hell would it? Why would this situation ever be a thing? You are a Christian. This is the problem with Jordan Peterson. He's a Christian. He's actually, I say he's a Christian. He's not a Christian. Actually, he's not. The guy's not a Christian, but he wants something religious to worship, but he's not actually a Christian. This guy doesn't actually believe in God the way Christians and religious people believe in. He doesn't believe in like a supernatural God, as in a living being that is all-knowing, all-powerful. He doesn't believe that. The way God is like described in religious beliefs, he doesn't believe that. He just believes there's something supernatural. There's something higher than like physical state that we're in, but it isn't the way Christians actually believe in. That's the problem.
Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and I mean
either you're a
'cause I
Christian
won't
or you're
talk to
not.
you if you're a smartass.
Oh, either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell you.
You don't have to tell me. I was under the impression
private.
I was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video,
You're really quite something. You are.
aren't I? But you're really quite nothing, right? You're not
Oh my God.
a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Nah. That was insane. He actually, you could see the way he came in. It's like, I meant, it's like, he is going all guns blazing. He had nothing reserved. I think he absolutely went in there knowing that, hey, I'm going to give it everything I have and actually going to go in. Because Jordan Peterson, he usually does this, okay? He evades questions. He answers questions very confusing ways. Like, what are you talking about? Can you make it simple for people to understand? And he clearly went in there with an agenda. But, I mean, who could blame him? Like, someone needed to actually go at him like this. Someone needed to test him like this. So you can actually say, yo, when you talk, people don't understand what you're saying. Like, literally, what? How can you not be a Christian? How can you say you're not a Christian? How can you say what does it mean to believe? Like, what are you talking about? But that's just my thoughts on the video. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. It will be massively appreciated. And also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe.